Bilbao, son of us for a gun, Bilbao, 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 son of us for a gun, Bilbao, 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 son of us for a gun, Bilbao.
Martin Odegaard, Erling Haaland, Odin, Thor, King Harold, Edvard Munch, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the Northern Lights, Lillehammer, Lillestrøm, Tromsø, Bjørge Lillechen. We've beaten them all. We've beaten them all. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Your boys took one hell of a beating.
One hell of a beating. Come on, you Spurs!
Right.
Come on, you fucking Spurs.
Right. Apparently, I might have just done a rant and it's frozen. Oh, frozen. No. George Penn is saying frozen. Is it not?
Frozen!
Frozen, yeah. You took one hell of a beating.
Princess Anna! You can do one as well.
Give me other Norwegians that have taken one hell of a beating. Right, we're in the final, boys. We're in the final. That's it. Yeah! Andrew's maybe right.
Right about what?
Second season.
Yeah, hopefully. 1 game to go. 2 goals to go.
Listen. I'm going to try and keep it calm. I've got you, Jack in the box, ready to go. Ollie missed both goals. Spiro in the house.
I remember World Cup 90.
Yeah.
Colombia versus Cameroon.
Right.
I was watching with a mate and it got to the 110th minute, 0-0. And he went, and his dad went to the loo.
Yeah.
Came back 5 minutes later, Roger Miller had scored 2 goals. I was that man tonight. So I can tell you now, Europa League final, May 21st, I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to take something for the team. If I'm not watching Spurs, we're scoring goals. I will now take one for the whole club, for the whole future.
People are stressing about loyalty points and all this stuff. The loyalty points and the tickets should be to become Watch It Here. We are 3 from 3 in this room.
3 from 3.
2-0 against Forest.
Yep.
5-0 against Southampton.
We haven't conceded a goal.
Haven't conceded a goal. 2-0
haven't conceded
Bodo.
a goal. James, how many can you fit in here? 60,000? Except that I won't be here. I will be in Bilbao, baby!
On that front, on viewing front, my brother was at the ground tonight.
Yep.
And thank you, James. And I don't know how much tickets were, but I remember I got an email about it. But my brother was there. He said free food and drink. So again,
that on top of the flags for the fans and the
flags for the fans, the scarves today. Those who have listened to me on this show,
not many
have been. Yeah, not many of you. I've been highly critical of the club, but I will also have to be praising of the club because you have to be a balanced individual. And whether it's this guy Vinay Venkateshan, who is known for his engagement with fans at this other shitty club somewhere else, there has been a sea change.
There's a definite change.
Clearly sea change.
Little things. It's little things.
Yeah, like, you know, the beers before the game. I couldn't go to the first leg because I've had pneumonia. But you know, you guys are there, and you said it was incredible atmosphere. Did the free beer with something to eat.
Yep.
Little things.
They create an atmosphere off the pitch that help on the pitch too.
You are pushing at an open door. Yep. We're here to be taken on a journey.
Yeah. We want to be with you. We want to be with you. Don't
stop treating us as customer reference numbers. We are on the same side. This club has got to all pull in the same direction.
Yeah, and
well done, Tottenham Hotspur.
100%.
On and off the pitch.
100%.
As I said.
The scarves tonight in the away end, I didn't even know the stadium was open. I didn't even know the stadium was open. I don't know how your brother heard about
my
that.
brother is, I think, might be on his way down to Launchpad Studios in celebration.
What a place to be.
But yeah, he said there were about 500 people down there. He sent me some videos, and he said it was great fun. And
Amazing.
Little things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the beginning. We see the team. I don't need to go through it. They said it at half time on BT. We started on the front foot. Even in the first, nothing came of it. We started on the front foot. We put pressure on Bodo. I don't think I'm the world's worst Spurs watcher. You won't be surprised to hear that I'm a pessimist. Yeah, they were poor, and they were poorer than I thought they were going to be. There's some credit to us. I was not nervous during that game.
No.
After they put in 2 crosses that caused us a little bit of bother, and that is it.
Yeah.
I was more nervous against Tamworth.
Yeah. Well, they actually look like they could hurt us.
Great.
Well, not sure it's on our screens.
But we kept them at arm's length. Footage courtesy of Planet FPL.
Footage courtesy of Planet FPL. Was he in the ground?
Yeah.
So that was going on inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Looks great, and as you say, it just brings people together. And
yes, this club.
If we can squeeze 60,000 in here on Wednesday the 21st, we will do that. Then we'll
less 14,770 who will be in Bilbao.
Yeah.
Bilbao, Tottenham Hotspur again, Bilbao. Shall I carry on, or we got to talk?
Listen, that's a great point underneath there. There was a tweet there. We all see it. I don't know who it was from under that video. It's just been a horrible season, but it could end in glory. And that's what football does.
Imagine your whole sort of persona is about laughing at Tottenham and thinking you're the best team in the league, the best team in Europe. And you're going to end up finishing miles off your target, which was winning the league, getting knocked out of Europe and having your season finished. You got knocked out 2 semi-finals.
I don't want to talk about them.
And you're the team that are, quote, in our shadow, are on the verge of one of the most historically mental, weird seasons of all time.
Yeah.
And I would say, I didn't realise, hadn't heard this until a week or so ago. Apparently in '84, when we won the UEFA Cup, that season we finished like 15th or 16th.
No, I think it was 12th.
So I'm just abusing Jake Sanders.
Why?
But weirdly.
Just telling him that he should be here. And where is he? He lives down the road.
Probably in Essex.
But I'm just telling him that he should just get here.
Yeah, this pod is all the worse for not having Jake Sanders here.
Isn't it?
What, and having you on?
Well, yeah, basically.
The year I don't mean that. The year we won the UEFA Cup, we finished 8th. So there's a bit of a myth going around. We lost 15 games. We did lose quite a few league games that season. We almost negative goal difference.
But we almost won the league either side of that.
We were cracking third. Team. Yeah. We had number players out in that UEFA Cup final.
Yes.
Hoddle didn't play. Perryman didn't play. I think there were others.
Mabbott didn't play, and obviously that, being a diabetic, my brethren, my kindred spirit, Gary Mabbott, he wasn't playing. Ardiles was on the bench. But it was a player, and actually we've had this discussion before that it was Graham Roberts that won that final.
Who's going to be the Graham Roberts in
that's
Romero?
It's that type of thing because we've all watched hundreds of finals between us, and they're tight affairs. And this is my fear of United
is Bruno. That's my fear.
Is a Maguire header or a Casemiro type thing or a Bruno penalty. It's that type of player who wins it. Who's that player that comes through from deep? That comes through that,
my man Rodrigo Bentancur.
It's that type. It's that type of like Woodgate. It's a late run. It's that second run.
It's going to be a tight game. Can
we let's sort of put that to one side, right? Let's deal with that in a minute because we're in the final and actually. The second leg performance against Frankfurt, well, even the first leg performance against Frankfurt, I actually thought the first leg performance against Frankfurt was one of our best performances of the season, to be honest.
The
first leg was one of our best performances of the season. It finished 1-1, but I thought we absolutely smashed them. The second leg performance was one of my most pleasing performances of the season. It was a
rare performance that we hadn't seen.
Exactly that. It was a rare performance that we haven't seen. It was a professional European away performance, and tonight was superb. It really was. And I think Hoddle, I'm a little bit disappointed because I called it after about 20 minutes to you. Hoddle made the point at half time, but I said after 20 minutes, I think somebody said Kulusevski's a bit quiet. I said, no. Kulusevski's sitting on Berg. Berg is their main man. Berg's the one that they've been saying is going to come back into this team.
Yep.
He's going to dictate. He's going to make them tick.
Yep.
You watch Kulusevski's performance, he was within 5 yards of Berg every single time.
Yeah, it was a man marking.
And the tactical game from Tottenham tonight and Ange, I'll put it out there.
But it's frustrating. Is that not frustrating?
Of course it is.
Daniel Pinkers is already telling us he's being negative. Again,
no,
it's context.
He's being negative about
United.
United.
I know he is,
but of course, the frustration for me is Ange is able to adapt. He told Kulusevski to sit on Berg and do a job on him. And he did a job on him.
And he did nothing.
And they didn't really flow at any point because of it.
Yeah.
And so he can adapt, and you haven't got to sacrifice your principles. And I don't think Andrew's going to be our manager next season, come what may. But I hope whatever he takes from this experience is that you don't have to sacrifice principles to still be the same manager.
I was going to say, if
spot on,
Frankfurt home could well have been our best performance of the season with the ball. Frankfurt away was our best performance without the ball.
Yep.
And that last 10 minutes against Frankfurt, holding on 1-0 in the pissing rain, was my favourite 10 minutes of the season. My heart rate is at 200 beats per minute. And I'm like, oh, I miss this. This is what I want. I want to be holding on. I want to be cheering every time the goalkeeper catches the ball, then falls down on the floor and 10 seconds later.
That tonight.
But tonight we were in total
control.
We were so
it's funny, Lucy Ward, again, I don't want to criticise colleagues, but at one point, it was either late in the first half or early in the second half, she said Spurs are not in control of this game. I think it was the end of the first half.
In total control.
Like I said to you, I'm a nervous watcher. I was never, not one moment, apart from
how many shots do they have on target? How many saves did Vicari have to make?
100.
The answer to your question is
I can't think
two. Two shots on target. Had one at the end where we jokingly were singing, "You've had a shot, you've had a shot."
Oh, yes.
And that free kick that might have gone down as a tip with a shot. I think it probably was.
No, it was a game broadly low of quality, but Spurs did the job they needed to do.
Yeah.
And
I can't fault
regulation away 2-0 win. Move on, and
can we just say that flights in August or September, whenever it was, they were quite cheap to Bilbao. You should have all got on that train, but there we are.
How much is the train?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. A long old train, but my flights are, I think, 9:30 in the morning from Gatwick, straight into Bilbao.
You don't want to go
Tuesday
Gatwick,
morning.
mate.
Land about midday. Got a nice afternoon in Bilbao.
Yeah.
And then we've got the whole day on Wednesday, and then 12 o'clock midday fly back to London
with the Europa League in the chair next
to us. Yeah,
my dad in the 1984. I think my dad's watching. Hi, Dad. 1984 UEFA Cup final, flew out and back with the plane with the players.
How did that?
Obviously, that was the first leg. I don't know how it happened. He was mates with Mickey Hazard, or still is, I think. So maybe it happened through that. I don't actually know.
All right, hi Jerry, how are you?
Miles is to say that I really love the
trophy.
The trophy.
It's a beautiful trophy, isn't it?
It's a proper.
I in some ways, I'm not just saying this. I in some ways prefer its big as. I just think it's a magnificent trophy.
It's a great trophy.
And
people come at me and say, can I just address this, by the way? Some people have said, I really hope with all the criticism you've given Ange that you don't enjoy it when we win that Europa League. I mean, grow up. Yeah. Of course I'm going to, because I support Tottenham. I don't support Ange. I don't support any of the players. I support Tottenham. And on that, we'll address Harry Kane winning a league. Well done, Harry Kane. I couldn't care less. Nothing to do with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. He's not to do with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I don't care. Some people go, you should be happy for Harry Kane. I don't care. It's nothing to do with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So when people say, I hope that you don't enjoy it.
Because you think the manager's no good?
Yeah, exactly. Like we've had those comments. Like Tottenham Hotspur Football Club winning a massive trophy. Of course I will love it. Is there anything to do with that? I couldn't care less. So long as we win it, I don't care. Let's just win it.
I still remember the 2008 and 99, the celebrations we had after. I live with you. And I didn't really like George Graham. I didn't really like Juan de Ramos. I'm not a huge fan of Ange Postecoglou. I support Tottenham Hotspur. I want to do it for me. I want to do it for you. I want to do it for you. I want to do it for all of you. Not you. No, joking. All of you. Like, just...
Yeah. Listen, it's one of them things. I don't really get it. There's this sort of fanaticism around players and managers.
People are just trying to point score.
And it's like you've got to support this player or that player or that manager. I support Tottenham. Okay, that's all I care about. I loved Harry Kane when he was here because he was fantastic for Tottenham. He is no longer.
I was pleased for him. No, I'm pleased for him.
I couldn't care less. I genuinely
for him.
You do you, but I personally I couldn't care less.
The whole Kane trophy thing is also so linked into Spurs. It's a jibe again. I mean, let's be honest here. So it does affect us.
It does. Of course, it's because he goes off and wins. Of all that list of players that went to win something, he was the one that had it, and now he has. It's another bigger swipe. But I think Kane winning something has now opened up this box in the ether, and we're now just going to win.
So in the context of like it's a drive at Tottenham, maybe, but people going, "Oh, I'm so happy for Harry Kane." I genuinely, maybe I'm a bastard, but I couldn't care less. I just couldn't care less. He hasn't won a trophy for Tottenham. He wasn't there in the semi-finals, in the run-ins for the leagues, in the Champions League final. He wasn't there. I don't care, and I don't blame him in any way. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying it's his fault, but I don't care.
It's amazing if we do win it because he'd rather win the Europa League with Spurs than the Bundesliga with Bayern.
Do you think? Have you asked him that?
No, but come on.
Really?
To win one trophy was the Europa League with Spurs over the Bundesliga with Bayern.
I don't.
What's in your beer tonight, son?
I don't even know. But whatever, I don't care that he's won that trophy. It's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with Tottenham Hotspur.
No, but
right?
I think it has got a weirdly we were speaking in the pod before the game about the media narrative, and it has got that link into Spurs because Harry Kane, loser, Spurs, loser.
It's got the link. I get the link. I just don't care. Anyway,
we've got time to turn it off. Let's talk about the game a little bit more. It was actually a shit game, let's be honest. No, but it had to be. But if you turned it into a basketball game, it would have been a totally different game.
This is the stage of a tournament. It's not about performances. It's about getting the job. And actually, I said on our pod before the game, I spoke about Inter Barca, which will go down in history, like Ajax Spurs will go down in history. But actually, the most important game in the season when we beat Ajax 3-2, we lost 2-0 to Liverpool without really laying a glove. So actually, this is the serious thing now. The final is probably going to be...
I couldn't give a shit if it's like the Leicester final in '99 and whoever that person is that pops up and scores the winner.
It's about getting the fucking job
done, and we got it done.
Get the fucking job done.
Get it done. And we got it done tonight, and I think to a man... They all did their jobs. We talked about you said after about 59-60, and it wasn't long till there was a sub, but you said, what changes should we make? And we sort of said, we wouldn't make any changes. Everyone is out there doing their role. They are focused in their role. And okay, you took off a forward player, which is less of an issue. To a man, they just knew their roles, they did their job, and I can't fault them.
I'm actually going to say one of the things that we discussed, and it does have an element about the final. I thought we've looked a better team with Richarlison up on that left wing than Son. We look a bit more rigid. We look a bit harder to break down defensively.
Well, okay, it's the same. Kane started that final. What's
going
to happen when Son comes back?
100%, and it's
but there's
it's going to be a really key. It's going to be a really key decision.
We've got two games. I think we've got Palace and we've got Villa before the final.
Yeah, correct.
So and the rumours are that Son could get minutes at Palace, which is very, very different to Kane walking straight back into the team in the final.
But you say that.
Of course it is, because if he gets minutes against Palace and then he gets a few more minutes against Villa, then there's an argument for him to start potentially, right? There is an argument. Shut up, James.
I'm not sure I would.
No, there's not. But it's not. It's not like Kane walking straight back in after 3 months out
and literally
taking the place of the semi-final hero,
as you say, with half a training session.
Yeah.
But we look a more physical team with Richarlison in there, and he's not the greatest footballer in the world.
It's interesting, Ollie, because we've talked about this for 30 seconds and already we've
Exactly
got
that.
Soul Sniper Gaming don't want to see Son near the team. Ursula Osman, Son has to start. It's going to divide.
Exactly that.
What would you do then? If he's fit, I'd have him on the bench.
I'm of the view that
I'm of the
view that 4-3-3 doesn't suit Son. I'm no tactician. I'm relying on James Robbins from our Vietnam office tonight, and our pressing shape.
I don't want to do tacticos.
No, but off the ball, we seem to be something like a 4-4-2 with Richarlison and Solanke up top.
Well, that for me works. Yeah.
And we had Kulusevski, kind of tracking Berg.
I think he'll do that job on Bruno in the final.
And we just looked a little bit more physical and a little bit more organised off. We have looked a little bit more physical and organised off the ball without Son there.
Yeah.
And I've said for a long time that I only think Son could really go in a 2 up front now with a big man up front, because he just doesn't have that physicality anymore to be a left winger.
But I can guarantee you, whoever United's right back is would rather see Richarlison than Son.
I'd like to see Son
the
coming
agent
off
of chaos.
I think I'd like to see Son coming off the bench after 70 minutes. Kulusevski won't do the job that he did tonight on Berg on Bruno, because Bruno plays in the 10. So you're looking more at like a Benson.
Become a bit more of a ball carrier under Amorim.
But you're still looking at a Benson Court, particularly a Basuma. To do a really disciplined job on him. But I think we'll come to the final. Let's talk about the final another time. There's no point really discussing it now. We're like,
it's going to be a similar team to the one we put out tonight. And it's going to have to play. I think it'll have to play in a similar way. This is a team we've beaten 3 times this season, which obviously fills me with utter fear.
Oh, obviously.
Bergvall also I don't think has a chance of playing.
So the 3 players that were out tonight that would, in my view, have been part of a first, quote, 14-15. Son, Maddison and Bergvall. The latter 2 are not going to be there.
Yeah, they're out.
Son obviously is going to be part of that squad. I would have Son on the bench.
It's a shame that it's not like a normal final where it's in end of May, June. It comes in, 2 weeks' time?
It wouldn't really matter. The only player we'd have back is Son.
So I'd like to ask, viewers, I started quite a serious job on Tuesday.
Where are you going with this?
Pardon? And the question is, do you think I can say to my new employers, hey guys, do you mind if I take a few days off in Bilbao 2 weeks into a new job when I've got quite a lot of work on? Do I go? Do I not go?
If they all say you should go, you go.
Let me tell you something. If they say you can't go, you're at the wrong company.
I'm just seeing what they say.
Should have booked it before you joined.
Yeah, Ryan's right. You should have booked it before you joined. Exactly. Have a bit of faith in your team. That's your fault. Ryan's exactly right. Should have told him before you joined, I've got a holiday booked on these days. You can at least cancel it. Your fault. You effed up.
You did, mate.
Anyway, next point.
I'm going to give you some stats. I'm going to drop you the Opta stats. Some of these we already know. Tottenham have progressed to their 6th final in major Euro competition, their first since the 2019 Champions League.
Oh, it's a 6th final, so that's 63.
Was that Atletico Madrid?
Atletico Madrid, 72, 74, 84, 2019.
2025. Bodo Glimt lost, don't care about them, but they lost 3 major European matches in a row for the first time in 3 years, don't care. Tottenham have won 9 matches in the Europa League this season, their most ever victories in the same campaign across a major European competition. We also go on about Spurs away in Europe not being very good, and people go, are you sure? Yeah, we're sure. Spurs have won back-to-back away matches in major European competition for the first time since 2013. 2013, yeah, with clean sheets. Bodo Glimt failed to score in the UEFA Europa League home game for just the 2nd time.
It shouldn't be understated.
By the way, we massively deserve that clean sheet, and so glad that VAR.
Yeah.
But it should not be understated how much would I have wanted to go there sort of November, October, December, whatever, January, in the middle of winter? No, absolutely not. I would not have wanted to go there then. But at the same time, the game at that point is not as crucial. The reality is they haven't lost there in 10 European games. They are the highest scorers.
1 defeat in 10, yeah.
1 defeat in 10. They're the highest scorers at home in Europe.
Yep.
And we went there tonight.
And they did nothing.
And really...
They did nothing, yeah.
For all the chat about, we'll carry a 2 goal.
You know what, Gary? This is what we slightly touched on before, because we're a bloody good football team who, when we do it properly, do it properly.
Correct.
And that's the frustrating thing.
When you haven't got fullbacks playing in the 10, both of them, and leaving
they were both excellent,
a centre-back
exposed,
then actually it's pretty hard to score against.
Yeah.
Just play sensible, play percentage
Basuma,
football.
excellent. Bentancur, excellent.
But they looked like they... Would I want to watch that performance every week? No.
No, but there's a time and a place.
Correct. Exactly that. There's a time and a place. The time and the place was Frankfurt away. It was City at home when we won 1-0. It was Liverpool at home when we won 1-0. Brentford away, we put in a similar performance, 1-2-0. Tonight, all our best performances of the season, ironically, have not been Ange ball in what we expect Ange ball to be. But that isn't sacrificing your principles. No. It's still the first 10, 15 minutes of tonight, we were still pushing up on them. It's just that the fullbacks weren't going into midfield and you weren't losing track of where the players were.
Yeah.
It was disciplined. You can play away, but there's a defensive element to the game. Yeah. And our best performances this season, for me, have been when we have retained that shape.
Yeah. Message from PKD81. It has not been called the UEFA Cup since 2009. We still call it the Milk Cup on this pod. This is a nostalgic, classic football podcast. We will call it the UEFA Cup if we want to call it the UEFA Cup. Other notable performances tonight?
Udogie.
Yeah, I think he's been our best player for a few weeks. James Robbins actually said, I have to say I sort of disagreed, when Udogie was out of form maybe 6 weeks ago, he did make the point that he just come back from injury or 2 injuries, and it does take time, and he's right.
Yeah, and he's looked like the fullback that we thought we had.
But he's better when he's similar to what we've been saying when he starts from deeper. He has never got to grips with receiving the ball sort of back to goal in a 10 position.
That's why he's a fullback.
He's a fullback. Let's talk a little bit about Solanke. I'm not quite sure how many goals he is up to now.
So my first appearance on this pod was when I think the Solanke news broke that we were going to buy him.
Yeah.
And I was very pro the signing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's turned out slightly differently to how I expected, because obviously we're buying him on the back of a 19-goal season and stuff like that.
15 in all comps now.
But he has done really well in his first season.
And to come in and replace Harry Kane is not easy.
And a lot of our tactics have not been to his advantage. But I think he's done a good job. I'm not sitting here thinking that we wasted the money.
Hero. My absolute hero.
Thank you. Sorry, our barman.
Jesus, like literally.
I only want half because I'm driving.
Wow, here they are.
I think with a manager that is, getting the most out of our attacking play, I think we'll see more goals from him. I like him. I think he's a good Premier League / England squad level centre forward.
Yeah. There's not many of those around anymore.
No, I mean, the way football's gone, you have these sort of 9s that play within a 3. You don't have the sort of playing as a 2 type centre forwards anymore. And I think actually that should come in, because you want to be counter-cyclical in a way and cause defences things to think about. So, as I said, I wouldn't mind seeing in some games Solanke and Son playing as a 2. But yeah, I've been impressed with him. I think he's a good goal tonight, good striker's goal. He held the ball up. He was winning clever free kicks. And yeah, and as I said, I think he's
done well. Do we wrap these guys in cotton wool now for Villa and Palace, or do they have to get minutes? You have to manage it in and out.
It's a great question. It's interesting, isn't it? Because the Villa game got moved to the Friday. And I was sat here the other day saying...
Oh, by the way, I'm so glad we won now, so that doesn't fall back on us. Oh. It was small banter for Spurs, but go on.
It had to be done. Like,
of course it did.
In the sense of, in the sense of like, you know, I mean, in the sense of there was such little turnaround between the games.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say, but you can appreciate
the tickets had to be applied for.
Yeah, of course.
The game had to be applied. The game to be moved had to be applied for. Everybody would have bantered it. Everybody would have bantered it. Without a doubt, everybody would have bantered it. But it would have been in completely the wrong context. But look, where we are now with the Villa game, whew, blimey. And even the Palace game, yeah, to be honest with you, wrap up. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because on the one hand, you want them up to game speed.
Correct.
You want them playing competitive football. On the other hand, it's a little bit like we can't really afford many injuries.
Yeah, we can't.
You know, we really can't. We really can't.
If you go back to 2019, one of the big problems that day was the fact that our last game, the gap between the last game of the season was
3 weeks,
2.5, 3 weeks, and the players had lost that sharpness. So
yeah,
I think it's a pragmatic.
Here's where I'm at on it. Okay, I genuinely think that these next 2 games should be a huge opportunity.
People
for the players.
I don't think there's anyone.
No, there is. No, there is. There absolutely is.
Really,
Matthias Tell. He's got a huge opportunity. Wilson Audibert has got a huge opportunity. Richarlison has an opportunity. Okay, Archie Gray, if he comes into midfield and dominates against Palace and that brilliant geezer they've got, whose name I forget, Wharton.
I think he's injured.
You know, if Archie Gray comes in and plays 2 brilliant games, and then what you do on the back of that is 60 minutes in, you bring on the starters, and so they've still got minutes in their legs, then he's too busy pouring me a pint, which is far more important.
I agree. I think Ange already knows his team. And I think, barring any injuries, I think
think you've got to be sort of playing these guys 60.
Exactly that.
60-minute type thing.
Exactly.
Let's have a chat when James has let him into the waiting room. Danny Jameson, if you're watching the game on TNT Sport, he is at, I don't even know the name on the ground, but he is out in Bodo. Danny, can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's Aspirma, the stadium out here in Bodo. We're just down at the Spurs end, just over my shoulder. That's where the 404 were partying. And just the other side of this camera is where about 50 Spurs fans have managed to break into the home end as well, having an absolute ball.
Have all the Spurs fans left the ground?
Pretty much everybody's left. There's only there's a few. So behind the right-hand goal, as you saw it on TV tonight, over that way, there's a load of flats and apartments. So there are people still in there. It's mainly Norwegians who are... to be fair, they're not hugely disappointed here, the locals. I think they've realised how far their club have come. Yeah. So they're enjoying what's left of this year's European tour, I think.
Danny, you're a Wigan fan and proud. You've been to some places in your life. Talk to us about where you are. How difficult was it for Spurs?
You know what? In terms of the actual game here tonight, I didn't feel like it was hugely difficult for them. I thought they managed it exceptionally well. They were very pragmatic. They slowed the game down wherever possible. The Italian referee was having an awful lot of fun telling Vicario to hurry up with his goal kicks and everything. But I thought they managed it incredibly professionally. Kjetil Knudsen, the Bodo Glimt manager, has just been into the flash zone next to where we were, and he described it as Spurs have just killed us tonight. They didn't let them play their football. They killed the game, really. It was pleasingly quite boring, that first half. They just took all of the sting out of it, and I thought they managed it absolutely superbly.
Isn't that the key point? Pleasingly quite boring. When we were on this pod at the beginning, I was saying just kick the ball over the stand, get all the balls out the ground. I don't care. Just kill that game. You used the word pleasingly quite boring. I mean, when have we seen that from Tottenham this season?
Yeah, Danny, I also want to ask you, we're jumping ahead a little to possibly winning this. I've talked to you on the phone about this. Again, I'm going to mention you're a Wigan fan. What was it 2013 FA Cup final, correct me?
I was about to say.
It was 2013. 13th of May 2013. Best day of my life, that.
I was fortunate to actually be in the ground watching that. you got relegated. I think it's different for Wigan, different for Spurs, but we're in this position now. We could win the Europa League and finish 17th.
Well,
Tell me how
United
finished 15th and win the Europa League. What was it like winning something big, but actually having a disappointing season at the end of it?
Yeah, I heard the episode. Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago where you brought it up, and maybe I'm not the best person to sort of tell you what it's like, because Wigan and Spurs they're in different echelons of football. I mean, that year, the way that it worked, so we were relegated. We lost to your dear friends Arsenal. I think it was 3 or 4 days after the final. We'd effectively been relegated 3 days before the final. We'd lost to Swansea at home 3-2. Poor Gary Caldwell rushed himself back from a hip injury and was really quite bad. So we kind of knew we were gone either way, and we'd had an amazing run of 8 years in the Premier League. So people that I knew who'd watched them when they were a non-league team, they'd only been a league team since 1978, one of the last teams to get elected into the Football League. So it's a completely different feeling that we kind of knew that this was our peak. It was never going to get better than that. And I know some Wigan fans who would say they could have wound the club up on the Sunday morning and nobody would have cared. Like, I couldn't tell you where they finished that season. Yeah. I honestly don't care, because that name is on the trophy. There's a replica at the stadium. Yeah. Honestly, it was the best feeling in the world. Yeah. It's slightly different for Tottenham because you have rightly higher ambitions. But given what's happened, I think there is an argument to kind of forget about what's happened domestically and look, they've not won this competition since the 80s. I think you've just got to enjoy the ride and see where it takes you and enjoy it for what it is, and almost forget that the Premier League season's really happened.
So obviously I can hear from your accent that you're from close to where I went to university, which is that big city that we're going to be facing. What do you think we can expect from the final? And 2 terrible seasons domestically for Spurs and United, but where do you think that the final's going to be won and lost?
And be careful, you're on a Spurs pod.
No, go be honest. Be honest.
Well, yeah, I know.
And how much as a Wigan fan do you want us to win?
Well, if they'd given us a few more million quid for Wilson Palacios back in the day and not stolen Pascal Chimbonda, maybe I'd have a different answer. But I think it's going to be a really interesting final because neither team obviously are playing particularly well. They've both saved their best performances for Europe. I think United's improvement has been incremental, if you want to be positive about it. I've not seen the game tonight, but it sounds like they were maybe a little bit better, and they were certainly better in the first leg last week in Bilbao. But Spurs, I think, probably have a better squad. It depends how they use it. I think what we saw today, and also maybe what we saw in Frankfurt in that second leg, that's maybe the blueprint of how to use these players. I don't know whether you agree, but these kind of performances, particularly away from home, and I guess technically it's an away game, even though it's a neutral venue for the final. I wonder whether these kind of performances is what maybe Ange Postecoglou will try to get out of them in a final, where he has talked about the knockout football being different. He mentioned at his press conference to us yesterday how every moment is so important, and maybe being a little bit more pragmatic. Maybe that's what it's called for, because they've certainly been much better in Europe than they have been in the Premier League, performance-wise.
Yeah, because United put the fear of God into me, I have to say, because they're like, Bruno, Casemiro, Maguire.
And they know how to win.
They've obviously they won the FA Cup last season with a sucker punch. They do feel like a moment's team, and they've got that know-how, which scares me.
All I would say though to that is, and it's been a consistent. I've worked on a lot of the Manchester United games in the Europa League. A consistent theme with what Ruben Amorim has talked about is that the Europa League games have been far better for his squad because they're not as physical. And I think what you've seen today and in the first leg is, I think Tottenham to an extent bullied Bodo in both legs. Yeah. So I wonder whether that lack of physicality in the Manchester United squad that you can't do anything about, I wonder whether that maybe plays into Tottenham's hands a little bit, because they've all mentioned Bentancur and Bissouma today. It was mentioned on commentary a lot. They were really good screening the back four, and physically they're a big team. I'm fairly tall myself. I'm used to talking to footballers that are a lot shorter than I am. We just talked to Mickey van der Ven. He's a big lad. Like Dominic Solanke, big lad. Yeah. They're a big physical team, and I wonder whether that might tip the balance in Spurs' favour, because United can't do anything about that. They're not playing a European team now. They can't play in a European style. It is going to be more like a Premier League game. And I wonder if Spurs make it more like a Premier League game and they're a little bit more, they play a little bit more bully ball, like they kind of have in the last 3 European games. I wonder whether that might be the way that they could beat this United side.
Danny, as I understand it, you've just come straight out of a press conference with Ange. He has been a bit prickly. He has been a bit on the defensive. What was he like tonight? Tell us about your perceptions, not so much of what he said, but just body language and just how was he tonight?
He's all right. I've not interviewed him loads, but we spoke to him yesterday before the press conference, and we spoke to him before and after the game for the TNT coverage. He seemed all right. Like I said, there was a pocket of Spurs fans directly behind where we were sat. We were sat sort of just down from the Spurs bench. And I noticed when Solanke scored, he turned around directly to those Spurs fans that have been chanting all game long and gave him a big grin, almost as if to say, like, there you go, like, this is for you kind of thing. Yeah. But he's always been all right with me, to be fair. He's never sort of snapped too much, but I've never had to ask. I've yet to do an English team losing in Europe this season, so I've not had to do that interview yet. But he's been fine with me. He seemed pretty happy. Well, yeah, let's cross that bridge, shall we? But no, he seemed pretty pleased. He was incredibly proud. He talked about the maturity of this squad that seemed to really, really please him. And also, Pedro Porro mentioned it when we were interviewing in front of the away end that they were almost more pleased that they've come here and got a clean sheet, which, by the way, I don't think anybody has managed in this stadium. I'd have to double check. They've certainly not done it this season. I'd have to go back and find out the last team to stop them from scoring. Because and by the way, the Norwegians, everyone we spoke to was so unbelievably confident that they were going to turn it over, get an early goal, and really rattle this Spurs side. And I think he seemed incredibly proud that has not been the case. That mental strength was definitely there tonight.
Danny, I got the answer for you.
I knew you would. It's never in doubt, Johnny.
It was Club Brugge in October 2023.
There you go. And some good teams have been here. Like, I mean, I don't know if you saw any of the highlights when Lazio came here. They won 2-0. It should have been 8.
Battered.
They battered them.
They got battered.
Yeah. They were phenomenal.
It looks wet. It looks cold. I appreciate coming on. It's nearly midnight in Bodo. They probably got some spare fireworks that they didn't use when they tried to wake us up at 3 o'clock in the morning. What's the plan? Just back to the hotel and then back home tomorrow?
Yeah, back home, back to the hotel. I mean, I don't know if you can sort of tell, I know the floodlights are on, but this is about as dark as it gets. The sun's going to come up tomorrow, something like 3:30 a.m. So them fireworks they used, fairly pointless because it wasn't that dark anyway. And also it was 17 hours before kickoff, so they were just rolled over and gone back to sleep. Yeah. But yeah, back to the hotel, maybe have a drink, celebrate, and then our commentator tonight, Sam Matterface, and I are going swimming in the Arctic Sea tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock.
Oh, what's it? No, I want to talk to you about this. What's the temperature?
Here, it's not actually been that cold at all. It's been
the Arctic Sea. When you go swimming,
this is the problem. So it's something like 5 degrees outside the water.
Have you done cold water swimming? Because I'm getting into that. I genuinely, on my life, I'm getting into that.
Well, I mean, there's cold water swimming, and then there's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow morning. I'm genuinely concerned. One of our cameramen actually did it today, said it was fantastic, and also got talking to one of the other guys that was in here. And it was, I can't remember his name, it's the Icelandic right back who plays for Birmingham City on loan from 20. He used to play for Bodo. He was here tonight with his dad. So they were just sort of talking about that, and he sort of taught him how to do it in the sauna, in the cold water. He did say you might get a bit lightheaded, so as long as I don't faint, I'll be all right.
This could be your last interview. I'm very proud to have you on.
Are you wetsuit or are you just beach shorts?
No, I've had to go and get some swimming shorts from a shop in town today. So if this is the last time you see me, guys, then you'll know what's happened.
Wait, no, I need to know about this. I'm seriously getting into this because I went up to the lakes. A couple of months ago, and I that's when I got into it. And now I go swimming on a Saturday morning in Hampstead. It's cold.
Yeah, Gary, enough.
Anyway,
right,
okay.
I'll
let you go.
Gary, listen, I'll send you where we're going, and if you want some proper cold water swimming, none of that lake stuff, that'll be like a warm bath, I think, compared to this.
Yeah, it's like swimming in the Lido in Wigan, mate, I'm sure.
Good luck. Very good luck.
Ren in our comments says,
go in slow.
Ren in our comments says, nice knowing you, dude.
Breathe.
Danny, thank you so much for joining us. The sun is still shining on Tottenham Hotspur's season. We are in the Europa League final. We've had people from all sorts of grounds this season, last season, but coming live from the Arctic Circle. Thank you so much, Danny.
Thank you so much.
Maybe we'll get you on from Bilbao. I think Gary's going to be
If
there.
you
We don't know
survive,
about
good
Ollie.
luck.
If you survive.
Listen, I'd be more than happy, guys. Enjoy your evening. I'm sure you will. I've seen you've got the beers on already. There's about 1,000 Spurs fans in Norway tonight. I think they will be drinking the place dry, even though it's about 14 quid a pint here.
Brilliant. Danny, thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, thank you.
No worries at all.
Brilliant.
Good night, guys.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.
Cheers. Again, that's what we offer you.
I'm telling you, it's all about the cold water swimming.
Oh,
It's
well,
so
we
good
go.
for
We'll do
you.
that.
How long after cold water swimming do you see your wife?
It wouldn't really matter.
Love that chat. Great to have someone at the game, and you talk to Ange, and it's just great to get a little bit of context. I won't name the person, but someone on our comments during that interview said he can't wait for us to be so upset when Ange lifts the trophy. When Ange lifts that trophy, I am going to be so happy.
This is what I was talking about.
So happy.
This is what I was
It's
talking about.
point scoring nonsense.
I couldn't care less. I don't support Ange. I couldn't care less. I support Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and when Tottenham Hotspur Football Club lift that trophy, if we lift that trophy, it will be like one of the happiest moments of my life.
And good luck to good luck to Ange. He can walk away with his head held high, go and get another job, and I did it in my second season, and we can all shake hands, and it'll be like and it'll be the best thing.
It's going to be a massive conversation to have, and people from outside the ground, outside the state. Outside the club don't understand why we're getting rid of a manager that might win us something. But it's a deeper conversation that we're not going to have now. It's not
a night of negatives.
And Ryan has said it in our comments. No more Ange or Levy talking till the final's over. We are in a Europa League final. We've gone there and we've done it. And I don't care how good or bad Bodo are. We've been to bloody places like Dinamo Zagreb, Tamworth, and come away with nothing. You've got to do the job, and they were so professional and got the job done. And again, well done to the club with the scarves and all that sort of stuff.
Doesn't it feel weird that the final is a 2-week turnaround? I mean, not even. I think it's less than 2 weeks.
13 days.
13 days.
And a Wednesday night.
13 days.
It's
Does it feel a bit less? Do you feel a little bit shortchanged as well that it's against another English opponent? Did we say there's been 6 all English finals?
So there'll be 6 all English finals. We now are in 3 of them. So we've obviously done Liverpool 2019, Wolves in 72, and then there was obviously Chelsea Arsenal 2019 as well.
Yeah.
Chelsea
Man
United in 2008.
Yeah.
And Chelsea City, the kind of
Champions League.
reduced Champions League. What was that? 2021.
It's kind of an inevitability, isn't it? That
because English teams are so strong.
Correct. You're going to see more and more of it. The reality of it is that Spurs and United are having the worst seasons that on record for both clubs, and yet here we are in the final of this competition. It wouldn't surprise me to see a lot more English clubs in the final of this competition over the next 5, 6, 7 years, and they'll have to change the format again because UEFA will turn around and say, "Well,
it's becoming a monopoly."
Yeah, exactly that. But it is what it is. I couldn't care less. We are right now where we are, which is in a final against United. I'm sure on this pod we will come to talk a lot more about that final, but now is not that time. Now is just the time to say we're in the final. And what a performance it was tonight. It was the correct performance, correct tactics in every single way. Just raise a glass and enjoy.
And look, I'm scared about United, but then let's be honest here, they'll be scared of us.
Of course, we beat them 3 times this season. Yeah, and Danny was right.
Through the middle of the pitch, they are not physical.
Yeah, but it was where their best player lives.
Well, they're central midfielders. What, Casemiro, who's almost our age,
Ugarte and Bruno.
So
yeah, it's a shame we're missing a couple in there. We've done it, boys. We've done it. Gary's was sorted ages ago. Gary knew. Gary knew. I've got an issue. I don't think I'm going to go. I think I will have access to a ticket and not a freebie Ross Hughes, as he's
By the way, if you don't go, presumably you will do the pod from here.
The next day. I'm not doing a live pod. What? No. Watching it with my family, James. They don't even like you. They don't like me, but for one night they're going to have to put up with me.
Well, I mean, so you see, I'm in this sort of umming and erring for a number of different reasons, and we have agreed that we'd watch it together if we're here.
Yeah.
One of the reasons as well is the fact that it's United. I thought, like, if we got Bilbao being that home final, and the whole of Bilbao would have been like a proper festival. The fact it's going to be full of fucking Manx, and having gone to Manchester University, I fucking hate Manx, City and United, and
that's what I'm saying. It takes a little bit out of it,
and then the fact that obviously I was there in 2019, and it's full of fucking Scousers, so it does take a little bit of romance out of it. I really want to Bilbao in the final. I think we'd have beaten Bilbao.
It's a good point from Lordy. It won't be full of Manx. It's Man United and CGG.
No, sorry,
it's full of people from
the home counties lot. But yeah, you know what I mean. And they're an arrogant bunch of pricks.
Let's do them,
James. Should we drop in the glasses or not? No, I realise that, but are we gonna? Okay, there might be surprises from Bilbao.
I don't trust Gary to do anything in Bilbao relevant to this pod. People said, "Oh, if Gary goes, he could do a lot." Gary ain't doing anything apart from getting absolutely hammered.
Oh, well, yeah, yeah.
In fairness, I'm probably in the same boat. as that.
But James, the director and owner of Launchpod Studios, this wonderful setup that we're in, has a plan for me in Bilbao. I just need to remember to.
It could be an expensive error from there.
So my brother, I think he's turned up at Launchpod, having been at the same tonight. So him and my nephew are flying to Carcassonne.
Basically, sorry, 1 second. Right, that's essentially it, but much more high tech.
Gary wears a GoPro.
Well, no,
I was watching a YouTube video today which had 12 million views, and I googled how much that person made. They made about $60,000 from that video. Gary
serious?
wearing a GoPro, I think, could eclipse that.
That's 1 billion views.
Yeah.
Are you serious? I'm keep it up my sleeve. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not far off, Ryan, from essentially that. Really, I just need to remember to activate it, which I won't.
Or James. So James came in to the studio earlier on with his brand new.
No, that's what we're talking about. You can't ruin it. No, don't ruin the. Don't ruin.
No, okay, fine. So fine. So
that's what he's talking about.
You got to remember, we're like mid-40s, old fat blokes. And suddenly there was some tech that came in and was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, you have to understand about our producer, James, that he's a proper gadget guy. When we must have been 18, he was the first person I ever saw whose Citroen Saxo the engine could start from his bedroom. Right? You know, that's how gadgety he is. And he's got a few gadgets up his sleeve for Gary and Bilbao.
But he still cannot get my AirPods to link in to what we do in the studio. So I've got one of these. James, own the defeat.
People are still talking about tactics. I'm done with the game. I'm done.
This
is the gadget.
We're going to the final.
This is the gadget.
Should we sign off with Bilbao? Bilbao.
Hang on. Nick Spiro's message. Is Nick Spiro in the room messaging?
He's there.
If we'd use these tactics in the middle of the season, where would we be now? Yeah. Who knows?
A lot harder than we
I don't give a shit now. If we finish 17th and win the Europa League.
But that's the question, isn't it? Shall we just debate that? That is the question.
That's where we're at.
Right.
It's
exactly that. It's not a choice.
But the difference between saying 17th and winning the Europa League and the difference between saying just finish 17th, okay, you got to the final, massive.
But that's why.
Massive.
That's why. If we go back to the conversation that we had before this pod, of this feels so much more intense and more important than the Champions League final. The Champions League final, it was like. When it was
yeah,
like
he's being a silly sausage now.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Not more important.
No, it is for the future of the club. For the future of the club. And where we are right now.
This is your fault. You poured all the beers.
No, this game has more importance. It just does.
I think it has a different importance. It's a totally different scenario that we're in.
But I'm with Gary on this one, because we're going to have to select a manager, and
there's more on this game.
and we're going to have to, we have to have a budget for next season.
But just think where we could have gone if we'd won that Champions League final.
It would have been exactly the same.
We don't know.
I do not believe.
I'm not going down that road with you, but we can only speculate.
No. I just said there was a time and a place, and tonight is not a time and a place. But actually, this weird conversation is part of that. And if, we've got clubs like, and Gary had a go at me, we've got clubs like Villa and Newcastle who, in my view, we've got to get back to the bread and butter of the league.
Yep.
And you've got to go step by step again.
Yep.
So the first target for me is Villa, Newcastle. I think Forest is
it's one season wonder.
But Villa and Newcastle are now pretty established within a top notional 7-8 clubs. They're the first target, with Chelsea probably have dropped into that group as well. That's the first league target.
And stopping Man United being there by beating them in the Europa League.
Yeah, United. So between these two clubs, as I said, it's like the playoffs. Think about the club that doesn't go off from the playoffs and the club that does. The club that does gets £100 million. This is a huge financial element, and that's why roads do lead back to ownership and understanding of that, because the finances are related to this game, and this is probably the biggest reward game.
Correct.
Versus the quality of the opposition. So
I agree with that.
There were so many Spurs fans who are like, "Oh, we've got to put everything in to try and win the League Cup." The League Cup, you can win it. You get 150 grand prize money, and you get
Correct. It scratches an itch for Tottenham, but in reality, it's
and
exactly
our run for the Conference League was Coventry away.
This is so important.
City home, United home, 2 legs against Newcastle, and then
Newcastle.
It would have been Newcastle.
Oh.
That is infinitely harder than this.
You cannot underestimate the importance of this game.
I'm not, but I thought you were underestimating the Champions League
final. I'm not underestimating the importance of the Champions League final. I think Ollie's absolutely right. You cannot underestimate. Like, if we'd won the Champions League final, fine, great. I mean, it is the pinnacle of everything. But where we are right now, the sliding doors moment of winning this game 100%. Versus not winning this game is beyond what you can believe. It is beyond. It's a huge game. I just feel the Champions League final was like, it was completing the game. This final here is about getting to the next level.
Yeah, well,
and when you're in a position to complete the game, you hope that you'll get there again. But actually, just getting to the next level or going 3 levels back is big.
Well,
and actually, the element of fucking over United as well.
Yeah, lovely.
Is huge because you look at the financial situation they're in. I mean, we're talking. Our generation, we grew up with United, this absolute juggernaut. It would literally eclipse all those sides. Taking Sheringham off us, Carrick, Berbatov, the effect it would have on their club, not getting into Europe and not having it and all the wages.
I get that.
So it's huge, and it's where finance and football do have this horrible link.
We got a couple of people in the chat, Kevin Mayer and I think Lordy, who were at the 84 final.
Yes, Kevin Mayer mentioned that on the pod before. He was there in 72 and 84, but he's now in America, I think.
Wow. Okay. I mean, look, I don't think I'm going to go. I've got massive work deadlines around that time. I want to watch it with my son, so I'm going to watch it at home. I could get a ticket, but I think I'm going to make the decision not to go. I know it's controversial, but you going and maybe you and whoever's out there, and I hope you're having an amazing time and you all come back with that trophy. It's a beautiful trophy. We've got a couple of league games to get through first. We play Palace on Sunday. We will be doing a pod. Jake Robson is going to be back in the chair after his arrival with a new baby. I don't think we've lost since his baby arrived. So that's something. Maybe they should bring the baby in to the final.
I've still never met Jake.
You still never met Jake? No. Adam Nathan is going to come on Monday as well. Get a different perspective on being in the final. We'll talk about the Palace game, and we couldn't really give 2 shits about the Palace game, but we will talk about it. We'll be back on Monday. As Ryan says, major respect to anyone going to that Palace game.
I'm of the view now that actually we shouldn't be quite resting players. We got to keep.
You've got to give legs. You need minutes in the legs. You do. Yeah, you can't just leave them.
And I thought our bench looked a bit thin tonight, so we are going to need options, and they're going to need minutes, and they're going to need to have match fitness. But you want players now Palace. I mean,
I was winding up. I was winding up to the end of the podcast there. And
no, I get that. But Palace have got a cup final as well.
Yeah, they're not interested.
And but they are going to want to. I'm fighting for. I want to play in an FA Cup final. I want to play in Europa League.
Well, he's already said that they'll make changes. Palace.
You want to push players. Players want to play. And
I think Ange knows his team. I think he knows his team for the final.
Well done, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Amazing performance.
Gary's done.
I'm done.
Gary's done.
We celebrate.
We are in the Europa League final. Fucking well done, Tottenham Hotspur.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. We will
final
see.
thing is, I saw a wonderful photo. Three of us with the 84 with
Ozzy Ardiles,
that's true.
Ozzy, Ricky,
Tony Parks,
that is true.
and Graham.
Yeah, Graham
bought
Roberts.
that tonight. To be fair.
Yeah.
And there's the three.
It would have been tempting fate.
You can, but it's. I saw that at home, and I was like, yeah, I'm feeling that. So, 84 is like such a huge thing.
It's our turn now. 2025 is going to be our version. All right, we'll see you Monday. We will be back. And up the Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.